Hello, this is the news review. My name is Omar Wali. Coming up on our program, police boast a gang that specialize in breaking into people's house and catering away with their properties. Also coming up, the TRRC, the Constitutional Review Commission, briefs journalists on recent activities. But we will start with the papers. And the Point newspaper is reporting that 135 militants crossed carpet to Gambia Democratic Congress. A total of 135 militants from different political parties on Saturday defected to the Gambia Democratic Party at a mass political rally held over the weekend at Brikama in the West Coast region. The new members were welcomed to the party by Mama Kane, the Secretary General and the leader of the GDC. Out of the total of 81 are from People's Democratic Organization for Independence and Socialism, PDOIS, 35 from the United Democratic Party, 15 from Alliance for Patriotic Reorientation and Construction, the APRC, and 1 from the National Reconciliation Party, NRP rather. Speaking shortly after receiving the new members, Kande said GDC does not have the culture of encouraging people to join them by enticing them with money or any other means, saying people only have the bravery to join the party and attribute their party to the national development. He said this is due to the ongoing developments in the development infrastructure and the livelihood improvement currently spearheaded by the party in various communities. And the GDC leader assured the new members of the party's equal treatment towards members, and GDC as a political party does not belong to any group of or individuals, Mama Kande told the new members at a rally in Brikama, West Coast region. Barrow vows not to divert government resources. The President of the Republic has challenged Gambians to redouble their efforts towards building a greater nation, promising that he will execute government resources judiciously and in a transparent manner. Adama Barrow was speaking over the weekend at Sarabojo Village, Jimara District, in the Upper River region during a mass political rally attended by thousands of his supporters. As youth from the greater percentage in the National Development Plan, he equally called on the young people to make the best use of the existing opportunities created by the government. Former National Assembly clerk passes away. Dudu Kebe, the former National Assembly clerk, passed away on Monday, 22nd April 2019, and he was laid to rest on Tuesday. Kebe, during his tenure at the National Assembly, had inspired a lot of young people and helped many Gambians to succeed in their administrative works. He had served the National Assembly with dignity, pride, and has rendered support to the National Assembly despite those difficult days under dictator Yahya Jammeh. We will surely miss him, especially the National Assembly, where he had served over 3 decades and as a seasoned administrator serving the clerk of the National Assembly, the Point reported. And on the Foraya newspaper, Sana Sabali confesses to gross human rights atrocities he committed. Sana Sabali, he made some confession before the Truth Commission about his involvement in the killings and the gross human rights violations of soldiers and civilians during his tenure as the vice chairman of redundant AFPRC. He made several confessions about the killings of soldiers, pointed out that he was the commander of the operations of the AFPRC along with his colleagues and their orderlies. And that's all we have for you on the papers. And the police in the Gambia have arrested at least a dozen people who ran a gang that specialized in breaking into people's houses and stealing their properties. The Fatu network was at the police anti-crime unit in Bijulo on Thursday, where the suspects were paraded. Let's take a listen.
Good afternoon to our esteemed members of the press. Today we are here once again at the Police Anti-Crime Unit ACU camp to update the general public on the latest happenings at the Anti-Crime Unit. We will understand that the Anti-Crime Unit has been busy over the period of time running after criminals and criminal activities to ensure that we we put a stop to the criminality that is going on. And even if we are not able to do this, but we'll make sure that wherever crime is found, we fight against it. And for this reason, this is why today we are here to update the general public on the latest happenings as far as the activities of the police anti-crime unit is concerned. The first thing that we'll look at is a case of 3 individuals. These individuals are one Muhammad Len. Also, we have Bai Sohna, and also Malik Bayo. These 3 individuals are very organized in the way they go about the breaking activities that they do. You will understand that these individuals have conspired among themselves and then went into several homes within Kololi, within Serekunda and its vicinities, breaking into several homes. And if you look at over there where you have taken videos or footages of the items there, you will realize that there are several flat screen televisions there. These are all items that are found with these people. Also, there is a vehicle behind that you have also taken. This vehicle too is also among items that are recovered from these individuals. And also, they went into one compound where they stole $7,000, $700, 2 S9 mobile phones, and also several amount of jewelries as well. Now, what is very interesting about this individual is that they have collaborators and they have partners in crime, that anytime they conduct their breaking activities, they will involve these individuals. This is why if you look at these people, there is also another individual called Musa Ba, who was also conspiring with this individual to even sell that vehicle as far as Casamance. You will understand that the vehicle here had been recovered by the police all the way from Casamance, because when they stole the vehicle, they have sought the assistance of this Musaba, who took the vehicle all the way to Casamance to sell it out. But the effort of the anti-crime unit, the dedication of officers of the anti-crime unit resulted to the recovery of this vehicle, and today it is here. Not only that too, but during the course of this investigation, it is also revealed that one Mas Njai, who is also among them here, is also a partner and collaborator of these 3 individuals, who, when investigations went further, it is revealed that the famous break-in that took place at Serekunda Bartes, I'm sure many people must have heard this, where a mobile shop was broken into and 2 bags of full of mobile phones were stolen. When the cost of these phones were estimated, it was estimated to a staggering amount of close to $5 million that was taken from this shop. And this individual here, Mas Njai, is connected to that breaking as we speak right now. Away from that too, another separate incident also, we have some minors. Actually, these are boys that are between the ages of 15, 16, and so on. We wouldn't mention their names. But then this group of boys also are very much involved in breaking and stealing from people's homes within Ibo town, within Latrikunda and other places as well. In fact, what is most interesting about these boys is that they use a facial mask while they are operating in their breaking activities. This facial mask is also with the police. I'm sure you must have taken the video of the facial mask. In fact, a highly placed complaint we had here, an individual came to lodge a complaint at the anti-crime unit here, citing that the people who broke into his house were wearing facial masks. And if you add one on one, you will realize that perhaps some of these boys that were involved in this breaking are the ones that we have here. Investigations are ongoing. And also, another very interesting matter is the fact that we have also rearrested another guy called Mam Said Njai, or commonly known as Yabel. Some time ago, we did another media update around Bakote, where we talked about motorcycles being stolen and bought. It is the same individual. Currently, he's standing multiple trial in the courts for multiple offenses of buying stolen properties. And as we said in the other media update, we've mentioned that this Mam Said Njai is a specialist in buying stolen properties. And again, he's been caught. If you look at the items over there, you will see very expensive wristwatches over there. These watches were, he was arrested with these watches because he was, and he is still specialized in the buying and resale of stolen properties. Actually, the other updates will be given to you by the commander of the anti-crime unit. But our message is this. We definitely, a lot of times people ask the police, what are the police, crime is going on, what are the police doing about it? And the reason why we are doing this media update is to show to the people that the police is definitely doing something about crime. And what we need is the collaboration, the partnership, and the exchange of information with the general public so that most of these cases that we are able to uncover, we will be able to do much of that. I have not seen a nation that is able to eliminate or alleviate crime on a 100% basis. But what we want to have is a society where when people's properties are being stolen, we will be able to detect whoever has done this, and we will be able to bring the person to justice. And in order for us to be able to do this, we need the partnership, the collaboration, and the support from the general public. I must submit that this partnership is very cordial of recent, because we've seen recent media updates which we have done. We've seen a taxi driver that came out voluntarily to give information to the police that resulted to the arrest of a particular suspect in a murder case. And this thing is going on, and we've seen people calling, even the anti-crime unit, calling them and giving them information. What we are saying, we want to encourage people to keep doing this so that any crime that has happened within the four corners of the Gambia, the police will be able to detect it. The last message we want to send is to people who buy stolen properties. Stolen properties, we have said several times, nobody should be able to tell you that I have seen on a particular property written stolen, so that's why I'm not going to buy it. Or I have bought this particular property because I didn't know it was stolen. What we are telling you is be vigilant. When people come to you in the night, they're selling to you properties in the late hours of the night, you must know something is wrong with this particular property. Because if it was a clean property, he would have come to you during the day and sell it to you. Secondly, we said, look at the amount of the price of these particular items. Say, for example, you look at some of these flat screens over there, you will realize that if you go to the market values, you will see some of these things cost $25,000, more than that also. A person comes to you and wants to sell it to you at $2,500 or $1,500. Sometimes they even tell you, give me some amount, I'm going and I will come back to collect the rest of the money. So when you see this kind of signs, you should be able to know that probably this person is not selling a clean property. This is why he's even so generous in even the way he's selling it. And for that reason, you should be able to ring the alarm bell and inform the nearest police about what is happening. We also know that there are taxi drivers and even drivers who are involved in transporting these individuals. We are telling you, emulate the taxi driver that had reported a matter at the police and stop transporting these people when they are about or when they are going on with their breaking activities. These are messages that we want to put to the general public, and we are sure if we get this cooperation from the general public, we will be able to secure the Gambia, and we will be able to ensure that this petty theft and crime that is going on, we will be able to stop it totally. And then one thing we want to also submit is the fact that these are youths. Definitely, it is not our pride. It is not something that we enjoy. It is not a pleasure for us to be sending these people to court and to jail. But what we know is everybody, as far as the Constitution of the Gambia is concerned, protects the rights and properties of the people. And this is the mandate of the Gambia Police Force. And we will ensure that we execute this mandate to the latter. Thank you so much.
Hey, what are you doing here?
I'm going to replace my AfriCell 3G SIM card.
Why use a 3G SIM card when you have a 4G phone? Replace your 3G SIM card today for the real AfriCell 4G SIM and receive 1 GB of internet data for free.
That was the police spokesperson there, ASP Lyman Jai. The Constitutional Review Commission on Thursday held a press conference where officials briefed journalists on the Commission's recent activities. The TRRC was established last year, and it has since been working on new constitution for the Gambia. More on this report.
I now turn to present the specific activities that the TRRC has been engaged in since the finalization of the countrywide public consultations, beginning with the household surveys. In collaboration with International IDEA, the TRRC has developed a specific household survey tool in the form of a questionnaire aimed at soliciting the views of Gambians on key constitutional law issues. With the studious assistance and guidance of our team of statisticians, researchers, regional coordinators, and other support staff, including private enumerators who were contracted by the TRRC, the TRRC undertook surveys within and outside communities that were targeted for the internal public consultations. The survey relied on the Gambia Bureau of Statistics enumeration area maps to identify and map the communities for conducting the survey in order to ensure that all the regions of the country were included based on an objective platform. The relevant sample size for the entire country has been pegged at 9,263 respondents. The household survey commenced on 19th March 2019 and ended on 22nd April 2019, that's this past Monday. The team is now busy entering the relevant data collected from the field survey. The CRC in March this year launched an online software dubbed Public Participation Platform, or PPP, not the political party, but the Public Participation Platform. The PPP is jointly developed by the International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance, that's International IDEA, and the CRC, and it is aimed at supporting survey development, data management, data analysis, and temporary data storage as part of the CRC's mandated public consultation activities. This online software has now been formally launched and is posted on the CRC's website. Gambians and other stakeholders are encouraged to visit the website and participate in the online survey. All these efforts are geared towards creating as many platforms as possible to provide Gambians and other stakeholders with the opportunity of being part of the country's constitution building process. In another development, the CRC has signed a memorandum of understanding with International IDEA. The MOU addresses, among other things, a common aim in implementing joint supportive initiatives geared towards developing, launching, and maintaining a data organization and analysis system known earlier referred to as the Public Participation Platform, or PPP.
The public is hereby informed that the Constitutional Review Commission of the Gambia is embarking on external public consultations targeting Gambians outside the country. The consultative process will incorporate the views and aspirations of Gambians living in the diaspora and the drafting of the new Gambian Constitution, and it will cover Africa, Europe, the Middle East, and the United States of America. In Africa, the Constitutional Review Commission will hold public consultations in Dakar, Senegal, on Sunday, the 28th of April 2019, at the Senegalese Chamber of Commerce, and in Nouakchott, Mauritania, on Thursday, the 2nd of May 2019, at Hotel Taiflaw. A similar meeting with Gambians in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, is scheduled for the 2nd of May 2019. As part of its mandate, the Constitutional Review Commission had embarked on a series of in-country public consultations which entailed direct face-to-face with Gambian communities around the country to discuss issues related to constitutional reform and the consideration of public opinions on matters that Gambians wish to contribute towards the building of a new constitution. The part of the process Gambians are making.
Chairman Cherno Jallow, and the Chief Executive Officer of the Standard Chartered Bank, the Gambia, Oluwade Odemiye, has said that the China Road and the Belt Initiative is to improve and enhance connectivity and trade around the world. Odemiye was speaking on Thursday at a press conference held at his banks with regard to the Belt and the Road Relay. Just to let you know that the Belt and the Road Relay, in fact, took place today, and will be bringing you the full coverage of the event. Let's take a listen to the Chief Executive Officer of the Standard Chartered Bank, Gambia.
Program that has been put together by the Chinese government, working together to improve connectivity, right? Connectivity and trade across as many nations as possible. Some say, well, it's to reinvent the old Silk routes. But essentially, it's to improve, enhance connectivity and trade. What it implies is there will be a lot of infrastructure projects in terms of roads, in terms of bridges, in terms of airports, in terms of ports, to actually facilitate trade amongst as many countries as possible, current count is about 152 countries and international organizations. So to put that into effect, it means money. And essentially, it is estimated that it could cost about $1 billion every year to actually ensure that this connectivity is realized. Now, where does Standard Chartered Bank come in? Standard Chartered Bank comes in because obviously we are a financier, one, and two, we have the largest overlapping footprint of all banks in the world. So you have the Belt and Road geographies, and then you have Standard Chartered Bank geographies. We cover 44 of the geographies that the Belt and Road Initiative is going to encompass. Now, we have pledged and we have commenced 100 projects in 2018, wherein we have a project cost of about $20 billion across Asia, the Middle East, Africa, and Europe. So we are trying to drive understanding of what the Belt and Road Initiative is and why we are that bank that overlaps the footprint. And so we say it's one belt, one road, OBOR. Now, for us to drive this and illustrate this, to be meaningful and have impact to the different countries where we're overlapping, we have a relay team of 8 athletes, international athletes. They've introduced themselves, who are actually covering each of the 44 nations. Gambia is the 35th, and we are proud and privileged, to have this relay team to actually cover Gambia. We are present in about 70 countries in the world, where they're covering only 44, and the Gambia is one of those 44, and Gambia is the 35th country where they are running. So they will run in 44 countries. They were in Sierra Leone 2 days ago. When they leave here, they're going to Nigeria. After Nigeria, they're going to Turkey. And so they cover that 44-country footprint. Just to illustrate and ensure that we all get the connectivity between the Belt and Road Initiative and Standard Chartered Bank as that bank that covers the footprint absolutely and phenomenally, beyond any other bank, and can actually actualize the connectivity and the trade. So hence, we have the athletes who are here. We have married this with our Banjul City Race because we want this to be an annual event. And so we have 60 local athletes that have gone through the due diligence of and registered by the Gambia Athletics Federation. So we have 60 athletes, we have 8 international athletes that we have talked about, and then we have 30 athletes of Chinese origin that have been put together by the Chinese embassy from our clients and their stakeholders that are going to run. So we're talking in total more than 60 athletes that are going to cover the Gambia. The route obviously is from here to the arch. We'll have a short closing ceremony, give out gifts and medals. We will identify the top 3, of the local athletes as well, who actually got to the finishing line first.
The Gaitav Special Economic Zone is a 160-hectare mixed-use business park strategically located within the boundaries of Banjul International Airport, the Gambia. It is the only economic zone located within an airport in West Africa. Gaitav Special Economic Zone is segmented into 4 separate zones: Commercial Zone, Industrial and Light Manufacturing, Logistics and Warehousing, Residential Zone. It is a highly secured economic zone with top-notch infrastructure, with eco-friendly buildings and beautiful landscaping. With attractive incentives and access to a pool of labor within the Gambia and the sub-region, the Gaitav Special Economic Zone has already completed warehouses available to investors. Located less than 30 minutes away from the international seaport of Banjul, investors in the Special Economic Zone will enjoy a unique proximity to major markets around the world, including Africa, Europe, America, and Asia. For additional information, please visit www.gaitaf.com.
That was the Chief Executive Officer of the Standard Chartered Bank there, Mr. Odenowo. I think I pronounced that properly.
Yeah, I just call him KO. KO.
Okay.
Yeah.
Viewers, so I'm here with Fatu. We'll be discussing current issues, the TRRC and many other issues. Fatu, welcome.
Well, thank you very much. If you check online from yesterday until right now, there's a lot of talk on there about the testimony of Sanabairo Sabali with a lot of different takes. I mean, people are coming with all kind of opinions. Others are saying, you know, even though he was speaking very well, he could not be trusted. And, you know, we all have our different sides to it.
So what is your bone of contention here? He came, he said it, but most people said that's what is expected because everybody knew what happened, so he cannot say what otherwise.
Well, he can say otherwise because we saw people, you know, people did that. I was actually not watching the TRRC from the beginning. I think I got to, I started watching it during Yabajan's testimony. That was when I started. I had about, is it JCB or JBC?
JCB.
I had about JCB and I had about Jai Ponkal. I did not have the opportunity to see any of those. But Sana Sabali could have come and put blame on other people and say that it was this person who did this, who did that. But he didn't do it. So he had a choice to come and say otherwise, but he didn't. It's not like, okay, people know he did this, he has to come and testify. A lot of people know things happened and those people came and they denied it. So he could have done that. I think it was very good that he came out. He owned up to everything that he did. That is a good thing. I think people should definitely appreciate that.
So, so you mean you appreciate him for speaking the truth?
Yes.
But the crimes he allegedly committed, did you talk about that?
Well, the crimes that he committed is really sad, and everybody would agree that it's a bad thing to do. I mean, you cannot kill people, no matter what it is. If you kill people, that is, you know, the worst thing that anybody can do. But we also have to put into consideration that when they came in, they were really young. They were 27 years old. They were not exposed, and I'm not saying that's an excuse to kill people. A 27-year-old right now would be thinking differently than they were thinking at that time, and I feel sorry for the victims. But the fact that he came out and then he said he regretted all of this, and when Commissioner Kinte asked him, he said if this is today, there is no way he would kill anybody. So I think definitely that kind of like got a lot of people sad that now he knows. And if you look at him, it looks like he went through a lot of rehabilitation as well.
Well, I wrote something. Coach, I know you are online. Just stay a moment. Let me finish with part of this question. I put somewhere whether forgiveness can substitute justice. And what do you make of this thing? Because I put something and people have been commenting that Sana did that. But everybody could have done similar thing. You commit crime, after a decade or so, you can come and say, yes, I did it. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, well, some people would not do it. Some people will commit crimes and still think that they were not wrong. Like he was saying, he said they were enemies. They also wanted to kill them. He said there was a book that has names of all the people that they were going to kill. He could have said, he could have just hold it right there and said they're enemies. I think the Truth and Reconciliation and Reparation Commission is actually for them to find the truth. I think after that comes, when the recommendations come, the justice part would come. And I'm sure when that report is out, the government would do the right thing. But right now, I cannot say who should be locked up, like I see a lot of people doing on Facebook, lock him up, lock him up. I think we should let the Ministry of Justice take care of that.
Okay, we'll come to that. Hello, Coach. Hello.
Coach. Hello? Yeah, I don't think he's there right now. Maybe he will join us later.
Hello? Okay, we'll continue. Another thing came up. Yesterday, he confessed to the killings of Dotfal, Basiru Baro, and several other officers. Today, he narrated his own side of the story. What do you make of that?
Well, like I said, he also is a victim in some way. It's true that he killed people, but we also had everything that happened to him. him narrating it, he couldn't stop crying. I mean, in his heart, because he talked about waterboarding when the consul talked about that. He was like, I would like to pass that because it was bringing memories to him. So yes, he killed, but he also went through a whole lot. And another part that was really sad was the part about Sadibou Haidara, because like I was saying, I wanted to go see Sana because I've never seen them. I heard about him and also Sadibou, and we were told that Sadibou had a high blood that was what killed him. So it was good today that Sana came out and explained what actually happened, so you can see what the two of them went through. He was lucky, but he would have been dead as well. So he actually killed people, but he's also a victim.
Someone somewhere can say none of these things would have happened or would happen if there was no 1994 coup d'etat. They came, they said there was nepotism, there was corruption, and it ended up turning to be this other way. Should Sana be somebody who will also be saying he's a victim of the same system that he created?
I think it was a lot of negligence on the side of the PPP government. I was trying to find out from Chongan. I sent him a message yesterday, and I was like, Chongan, how in the world did this happen? Because if you look at the narration of the testimony of Sana Sabali, when he went to work and he said, he had to take some time off, and then he came to buy combo and he was asked to go back again. So all of these things happened, and this government was still there. They didn't do anything. So I think if you look at it, it's also a negligence. I mean, these are young people. When they came in, he said he was like 25 or 26. Yeah, Jammeh was 29 years old. Even though they traveled, they've been to the US. Sana was at Fort Benning, I think he said, at some officers training program, but they were still not exposed. So I think the government should have also, stopped this coup. It could have been stopped, but I just don't know. There were lapses somewhere, a whole lot of them. But again, when I spoke to Chongan, he was saying, the NATAC, that was the Nigerians, were the ones who were in control of the command. So there was not much that the Gambian soldiers could do.
Okay. Hello, Coach.
Hello, Uncle Omar and Auntie Fatou.
No, Uncle Coach.
How are you doing, sir?
I am great, sir.
Are you still looking for a job? Because whenever you come, that thing is no more, they are not telling you that anymore, that you are looking for a job.
Well, I don't think they are, because I think maybe now they are convinced that I am not. And the bus driver is not going to appoint me anyway, so...
If the bus driver hires you, the bus driver is going to fire you, and then coach will be rehired and coach will be removed.
Well, I would tell him to. I think I want him to appoint Musa Jeng first before he gets to me.
Okay, let's start with before calling you, I saw you you did a Facebook Live, and you were talking about the role of some of the people during the military rule and the torture heaped on certain people. Sana accused Alaji Martin, Malafi Kaur, and several others. You made a video on that, and you even questioning the security sector reform. On the whole, who do you hold responsible for this problem? Is it the Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces, or the Commander-in-Chief of the Gambia Armed Forces?
Well, I will lay the blame entirely on the desk of the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, because he has a very special responsibility. And also given the fact that he came to power on the basis of these violations, these atrocities that were happening in our country, because that was the reason why people came converged and to at least effect the change that was effected. So one would have thought that at least they would have given these problems the ultimate care that it deserved, because it is really sad today, Omar, that we're here talking about everything that has happened over the past 25 years or whatever in the military. The tortures, the lack of discipline which led to them in fact being able to take over the government, and the negligence of the PVP regime, the naivety of the regime, the absence of safeguards to ensure that would not happen. But today to have, let's say, somebody like Lagos, what's his name, Alaji Martin, who is a general in the army. Now, on the one hand, we are trying to make our army to understand that it is not their role to effect change. They should not be part of running a government. Their job is restricted at defending the territorial integrity of our country. But to hear Elijah Martin, every day you go to the commission, that he has tortured this person, castrated that other person, did that, did this, and then you want the young soldiers to now take command from this guy. What message are you sending them? So this is why I believe that first, the government must send on administrative leave all those who've been adversely mentioned and are working in our security forces on this horrendous human rights violations. And secondly, it must also be serious in implementing the necessary security reforms that would move our country forward. Omar.
One might say Alaji Martin is not an oxygen. The military can do without him. So why do you think the military is still maintaining him?
Well, that's the $1 million question. Because look at what Barrow did. The first thing he did was appoint a Masana Kitty. You know, somebody who was so entrenched in the Jammeh system. Now, this is the guy that you want to make reforms for you. It's not anything personal. It's just logic. Mm-hmm. It's just like what we've seen. Look at now you have Mambure Jai, who was also immersed in all these violations of our security, not security, but financial sector. His name came up a number of times in the commission. That's the guy that Barrow thinks is the right person to reform our financial services.
But,
and then you have the other Mr. Tangara, who was also, a Jammeh guy. That's the guy that Jammeh Barrow thinks that is the right person to repair our relationships around the world. So I think what Barrow needs to understand is his government is not a normal one. Because of the way it came to power and what it inherited. So I believe that at least chance should be given where you correct the system with fresh blood, if you want to call it that, before going the route that they are going.
Coach, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I was saying, like I said, I've not been following the TRRC. I started watching at Yabajan's testimony, but everything that was said about Lagos, what's his name again, Alaji Martin, I know a lot of people are online saying the president as the commander-in-chief should get rid of him. But is this not the first time that we're hearing into detail all this gruesome torture that were committed by Alaji Martin? Is today not the first day, or was it said before?
Oh, no, this is not the first day. If you follow the commission, almost every other security person who was detained and was tortured, somehow, some way, Alaji Martin's name would come up.
Oh.
So it's not the first time.
Oh, okay. I thought this was the first time.
And even with everything that we know, and Fatu, I've heard people say, you know what, but let him, he is innocent until proven guilty, so he should wait for his day. But this is what happens. Okay. In some of these so-called mature democracies like the United States. If you are in the police and you are accused of violating somebody's rights, you are put on desk duties, that is administrative leave for the most part, until a thorough investigation is done before you are allowed to either come back to the full force or you are fired. So this is what we are saying. We are saying that, we are not saying that he doesn't have rights, we say that. But you cannot have a general in our army who has been mentioned time and time again as being one of the most wicked perpetrators of human rights violations against our people. But that's the argument.
But Coach, if you look at the Gambian National Army, you will see that most of the people there were named in some form of torture or killings or stuff. But also these are men who are trained. They know how to use guns and stuff. Don't you think the government also have to take their time in terms of dealing with their situation?
Well, 2.5 years is a lot of time, Fatu.
Well, I was just saying, these are men who are trained how to use guns, and it's true that they were named, they're implicated in some situations, but I think you're right, 2.5 years is a lot of time, but I think I heard Masana Kinte said they're still working on their security reforms.
I think part of this is the perfect opportunity to do anything that you want to do with our security to reform it. First of all, not only do we have the presence of ECOMIC in our country, we have the whole of ECOWAS looking at our country and ready to make sure that we do not go back to where we were. So this is a perfect opportunity to correct all the ills in our security forces, to make the right adjustments that need to be made, so that at least we'll move forward. What are you going to do? Wait until economic time is over, go, and then you'll be at the mercy of the Marsh and the Kintes and all these other people? That's the thing. I think the government must act, and we cannot be afraid of doing the right thing. And that has been our biggest problem. Look at 1994, how it came about. You're talking about somebody who had told you that he refused to follow orders. But so nobody cared. Nobody wanted to act. And by the time they opened their eyes, the president was on a ship somewhere being taken out of the country. So this is for Barrow's protection in the long country. Those who are undesirable in our security forces must be weeded out, irrespective of how well trained they are. But they must be weeded out. You don't just keep them there for fear of what could they do. Well, what about if you give them all the arms and they can use our military apparatus to do what they want to do?
Coach, I will come to that again, but let's talk about the age. When you talk to some Gambians, they will say they were young men, 25, 26, 27. Should that be an excuse? And because crime is a crime, a man above 18 years old is no more a small boy. And should somebody at that age, if like some people are justifying they are small men, should they overthrow a government if they know that they will not be able to do the right thing?
Well, Omar, I don't buy this. I was young. When Sana Sabali was the vice chair, Yahya Jammeh was the chairman. Yahya Jammeh is older than me. But I knew enough to know that what they were doing was wrong. So it is a fallacy for me, for all these people whose excuses I was too young. Listen, even your 5-year-old kid knows when you do something right or wrong. So to me, I don't buy that today, I don't buy it tomorrow. It's an excuse. You know, it should not be bought. It cannot be bought. Listen, these people were grown folks. They had their wives, with the exception of Yahya Jammeh, because nobody liked him anyway, wanted him until he became president or chairman or whatever it was. But all of them, Sana Sabali was married, had kids. All these people had their wives and kids. So they knew how to pick wives. They knew how to run their families. They could, in fact, sit in a taxi and hear a story on BBC and realize that there was something wrong in our country, to the extent of wanting to correct it. So to be, you cannot turn around and tell me I was young. No, they are not. They knew exactly what they were doing. They had powers in their hands, and they utilized it at the detriment of the people.
Even if it is like, I remember in 1988, so I can't remember anything. I was a small boy then. You know, in Gulu, in Uganda, Dominic Ongwen was going to primary school. He was kidnapped by the LRA, and he was later conscripted into the LRA. He became a commander after Vincent Orti. Now he murdered, he mutilated, he raped, he did all crimes. But now the argument among the people, they said he was a small boy at the time. But after 18 years, he is no more a somebody. And Sana Sabali's case is different from Dominic Ongwen. Do you think, I asked Father about this, forgiveness can substitute justice?
No.
Coach.
There are two things. To me,
I disagree.
There are two things. Those who have been wronged can choose to forgive. You see, justice in a society takes two forms. The abused can take it in himself or herself and say, I have forgiven the person that has abused me. But the state has a responsibility to ensure that it would exercise the laws, or at least put them into practice so as to avoid deterrent. In our culture, the Gambian culture, we are the most forgiving person. Today in the morning, I woke up, I was listening to the radio stations in the Gambia. You would think Sana Sabali was this big sage who just dropped from the skies and came. Oh my God, he is so brave. Oh my God, I never knew he was this. Oh, Sana Sabali this. He is a very honest guy. And I'm like, okay. You can say that. But I think the state must also make sure that those who violate the laws of the country, they are laws for a reason. But you cannot just sit and say, okay, Coach is nice enough to say, oh, Fatu, I've forgiven you, that has this thing. You commit a crime against an individual and against the state, and that is by violating the laws that have been set.
Coach.
So I don't believe that forgiveness equals justice. I don't.
Hello, Coach.
Yes.
Yes, I think I disagree with some part. It's true you can be 18 and you be matured, but we all know that the average Gambian, and I'm saying sometimes you have people, not even only in Gambia, but also in some part of the world, you can have people who are like 40-something and they're not matured. So it doesn't mean that when people say, oh, they're over 18, they should be matured. We have people who are 50 and they're still not matured. I think that time the exposure was not much. That time when they came in, I said on Facebook that I just finished high school, my O-levels. That time we were not very exposed, much more somebody who was 25 years old. I think they came and they saw themselves in power, like they could say stuff, they could appoint people, they could do things that they never even thought about doing. They could have been carried away with that. You know, that's what I think. So we cannot say because when you're 18, you are an adult, meaning that every 18-year-old should be matured. Some people, unfortunately, are not, and people are different.
Well, and guess what? They were not 18, they were 29.
But that's what I'm saying, because some people are saying the moment you are 18, from 18 you should be matured. But I'm saying some people are 50 and they're still not matured, Coach.
Well, you know what? There are people. Donald Trump is almost 80-something, and he's as the most mature person in the world.
Exactly.
But this is the thing, though, Fatu.
Yes.
This is the thing.
Yeah.
Your immaturity. You can do whatever you want with it, as long as you are not using it to harm other people. And Yaya Jammeh, Sana Sabali, Edward Sinyate, Sadibu Haidara, Yakubu Ture, and all those people who held them knew exactly what they were doing. They were mature enough to keep it a secret. They were mature enough to execute it. They were mature enough to overthrow a government. So the immature people must stay in their lane. You cannot force yourself and take people's country and then want to turn around and use lack of maturity as an excuse. Yes, age may not have a lot to do with maturity. Like I said, Donald Trump is almost 80-something. Every day, just yesterday, he invited the chief executive of Twitter because he was complaining that his followers have reduced and all that nonsense. That is immature. But again, you cannot use your immaturity to violate the rights of people. They could have done anything, but killing people, they were wicked.
Yeah.
They willfully executed people.
Yeah, but Coach,
they knew what they were doing.
Coach, let's talk about the punishment they heap. You know, the worst thing that you can do to a woman is to rape her, and to a man is castration. Why do you think Jammeh and his men were using this as a tool to punish their opponents or people they considered as enemies?
You know, Jammeh was a sadist and a psychopath. Because it is only a person whose callousness is unimaginable, who would not only send other people to torture a fellow human being like that, but to even have them videotape the torture. We've had these stories of people who were videotaped while they were being tortured so that Jammeh could watch it. All of us who were watching Sana Sabali talking about how he was castrated or how Sadibu Hydra was castrated to death, could not even bear it. Imagine you watching that. Somebody being done that to you. These people were wicked. Jammeh was, you see, that's why it is so sad when you hear people today talking about, oh, Jammeh more genocide, Jammeh should come back. And Omar.
Yes, sir.
The sad thing is, this is just the beginning of Jammeh's wickedness.
Tip of the iceberg. Okay.
This is just, because up to this point, up to what Sana is talking about, it's like about a year and a half. We've not even gone into 2 years yet of Jammeh's rule. He's just started forming his killing teams all over the place. The rape that was done to women, the imaginable tortures that happened to our people. So to me, Jammeh and these people are the scum of the earth. These are wicked people who have no regard for the lives of people. Look at how Edward Sinyate is said to have killed Koro Sise with Yakubu Ture. How can you beat up somebody that you sit in the same cabinet meeting with every Thursday? You beat him with with a bat until he dies. And then you put him in a car and put the car on fire. And then have the audacity to go to the person's family to say, I'm here to pay my respect for the loss of your child. They were animals.
If you have the opportunity to sit with the Chief of Defense Staff of the Gambia Armed Forces, what will you tell him?
Well, I think the Chief of Defense Staff himself needs to be looked at. First of all, my first thing to tell him was, anybody, including himself, whose name comes up in this commission, firstly, has no business wearing our uniform. And he must also understand that he is not the head of state of that country or a king. He needs to dial it down with all this wee-wee nonsense and his entourage and this, what do they call that, these cars that follow him all over town, disturbing people and all that. And you know, the Chief of Defense Staff is not even my problem. My issue will be with Barrow. And I think Barrow should look at his Chief of Defense Staff, because I believe there are a lot more competent people, a lot more patriotic people who can serve the job. And secondly, let's look at our military. Do we need this huge size military that we have? What are they doing? And this is why today they're talking about, they're working with some people, they will start farming and all
but no, I disagree with that. I disagree with that
Okay,
point.
Before you...
our country.
Okay, Coach, let me just put in something here. Yeah. Initially, you talked about people, they brought in people who committed crimes and so on. One key example was Musa Savage was discharged from the military because of his stance against the December 30th. We all know coup is a coup. And Jammeh, despite all odds, this is a country that goes to election every 4 or 5 years. Should Musa Savage be penalized or punished for defending a country, and you brought in people who connive with others to overthrow a government? What type of military do we have in this country?
Well, I don't know whether how Musa Savage was fired and what he did. But all I'm saying, all I know is he was let go of. But you cannot fire Musa Savage and then retain, what's his name? What's his name again? Martin.
Alaji Martin.
Alaji Martin. So these are the things. So I believe that our country is so poisoned through this vicious 22 years that we dealt with under Jammeh, that we have to have a very thorough and objective look of all sectors of government, from the civil service to the political appointees to the security services to our financial services, to all sectors. But the sad thing about it, though, Omar, is that you cannot overlook the fact that while we are calling on Kinte and others to go, Barrow has also decided to surround himself with the same civilians who were urging on Jammeh to be giving orders to the Martins to continue to violate the rights of Gambians. So this is why I believe that Mr. President Barrow must have a very serious look at his circle and why he came to power and what needs to be done. We have to have a serious divorce from Jammeh's ways. But unfortunately, what we have is a convergence of Jammeh's ways and Barrow. So you've not had a separation that was needed to give the Gambia a new beginning. Coach. Yes.
Yes, I must say I disagree with the part where you're saying that most of if their names pop up, they should be removed from the military. I mean, what we need to know is that these people are testifying. I mean, I cannot come to the commission and say Coach tortured, and without even listening to Coach, we decide to remove you from work. I think that's also something that we cannot do. I think what would be fair is to wait until all the testimonies are taken, all the witnesses come in. If your name is mentioned, and you should also be given an opportunity, a chance to come and defend yourself and say if you actually did that. It's true, I agree that with Masana Kinte is taking too long for 3 years. I think the security reform should have been far right now as we're speaking. And I also am totally against his convoy. I've always said that Masana, being the chief of defense staff, should make everybody comfortable in the country. But if he's in a convoy running at like very fast like that, it's going to make other people feel that we are not secured. But when it comes to the military, like I always said, it is a very, very sensitive area. These are men who have been trained how to use guns. We cannot just say somebody mentioned this person, we have to remove them from the military. I think everybody deserves a chance to be listened to so that we know what really happened. I think that's the idea of the TRRC, so they can listen to everyone and get the facts.
And Fatu, I'm not saying that anybody who is mentioned should be removed. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying here is like a person in case, the case in point here is Alaji Martin. Alaji Martin
has not testified yet. He has not testified yet.
Yeah, but he has been constantly mentioned. When Chongan came, Sana Sabali's, testimony. Because Chongan and all the security detainees that came first talked about seeing Alaji Martin going in there with the hammer to torture Sabali. That was collaborated. And these are people who are mad at Sabali as anybody could tell, most of the security detainees. So there is collaboration of it. And giving the rank of this guy, you would not want this guy to continue to serve in that powerful position when you are investigating the actions of the military, including his own action. He has all opportunities to undermine the whole process. That's what I'm saying. This is why I'm saying, even in the United States of America here, when a security officer is accused of doing something, the person is put on a desk duties or would be put on administrative leave.
Yeah, but that will be after they listen to you.
Established.
That
so
will be,
what I'm saying.
Yeah, that will be after they listen.
The removal part could take the form of sending somebody on administrative leave. But I think that having Martin to continue to serve in the military, this is the whole purpose of even the TRRC.
Well, we hope that he would also be given an opportunity to appear before the TRRC, to also for people to hear his side of the story. There are a lot of stuff have been said about him. This is why I never wanted a TRRC. I know we did an interview on Al Jazeera. It was myself, the Justice Minister, and the President of the Gambia Press Union, where I said, these are the kind of things, I mean, these are people that we all know and we think they're good people. We never thought that they would do something like this. For instance, Alaji Kanyi, I worked with him at the National Youth Service Scheme. He was coming to train the people there. So all my life I thought Kanyi was a good person until I saw that. Alaji Martin, I worked with him at State House, and today I'm hearing all these, crazy stories. It's very scary. And I think, like most people say, we should brace up for more.
Coach,
well,
before you go, let me ask you. I remember some time ago, someone told me during William Shakespeare's time, the evil men do live after them, but now in our generation, the evil men do live with them. Do you think that's the case, or?
I didn't get that very well.
Someone told me during William Shakespeare's time, he said the evil men do live after them. But now, the evil men do live with them. Is that the case, or is still the same?
Well, it looks like, especially the Gambian case,
yes.
Actually, the evil that they do pretty much propels them to positions that they do not deserve. I've seen Sabali come and agree to the fact that what comes around goes around, in terms of his torture that he went through. If there is one thing, though, Omar, that I just wanted to say is that I don't find Sabali to be brave. What I just feel he was absolutely brutally honest, but that is to be expected. Because one thing that Gambians must understand, Omar, most people of Sabali's caliber, people who are very callous in their thinking, who are very calculating, they've always want to show this position of I am brave, I am powerful. So these people will never see it, because to them to even lie about what they did would be seen as diminishing who are. Sabali has an MO. that he has a way of projecting himself as this guy who is very blunt